What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hurl Podcast. We're talking NBA basketball today, which means we got Avery Donor with us. I believe it's this way, actually. So, yeah, we got Avery rocking with us. He's back. Every series is through Game 4 now, so we're going to be breaking down basically all the series up until Game 4, and then we're going to give a little tail end to that, and then we're going to talk about Budenholzer, and then we got something special for y'all at the end. So, but first up, we are going to do Mike Budenholzer just to get his stuff out of the way. It was breaking news about 3 or 4 days ago. He got fired after being the head coach for Milwaukee. Best record, 3 out of the 5 seasons there. Won a championship with Giannis, of course, in 2021. What do you think of the quick trigger by Milwaukee to get him up out of there, Avery?
I don't know. I'm a little conflicted. I mean, he did get completely outcoached by Spoelstra in that first round there, and it's been a tough last 2 years. But I think he'll bounce back, maybe find a spot on Toronto or something. I still think he's a good coach.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I completely agree about the Spoelstra stuff. People are very quick to forget that Giannis missed 2 games in that series. Kind of tough when you don't have 35 and 15 just sitting there for you. But yeah, I do agree with the stuff on Budenholzer. He definitely got outcoached by Spoelstra. Spoelstra is like one of the 5 or easily top 10 best coaches of probably all time. At least in my eye. And you got Phil, you got Pat Riley, hey, Popovich, of course.
Yep.
And then Spoelstra's kind of like in the mix there. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. But as far as what goes for him and what goes for Milwaukee moving forward, I'm very interested to see who they pick up. I've heard a lot of Nick Nurse things, which I think he's a great X's and O's coach. You saw that. Was it his first year with Kawhi there?
It
they won the ring?
It might be.
I'm pretty sure they brought in Kawhi during like either his first or second year.
Yeah.
Which granted, Kawhi was playing on another planet during that stretch, but so is Giannis most nights. So I think when you drop X's and O's, they have a great chance to run it back next year. Granted, they got 2 massive free agents. Middleton has a player option, and Brook Lopez is just a straight up free agent, and they got to bring. It's gonna be tough to bring both those guys back when you got Holiday's contract and just the absurd amount of money you're paying Giannis for good reason.
Especially with the great year that Lopez and Middleton had this year.
Mm-hmm. Especially Lopez, like being up there for Defensive Player of the Year, being a big that could stretch the floor. Like if Milwaukee has another center in there, like Mitchell Robinson, that lane is just so clogged. You have to have a 3 and D guy at a big spot if you're Milwaukee to help stretch the floor, provide spacing, because that's what the modern NBA is all about, is spacing. So they got 2 really tough decisions there. I actually want to touch on one more thing with Milwaukee before we get into the playoff series. I don't know if you heard, but Windhorst was on First Take a couple days ago. Very reputable source, of course, with Brian Windhorst. And he said the Knicks are paying 97% attention to what's happening in their series right now against Miami, and about 3% attention to what's happening with Giannis in Milwaukee. There might be, I guess there's some underground bubblings of Giannis to New York or Giannis requesting a trade. It seems like with the timing, at least, now's kind of the time. This next season, halfway through next season, he's still got 2 years left on his deal plus a player option. So the timing is right to work out a trade because you're going to get a year and a half guaranteed of getting Giannis, which means Milwaukee will get the most value out of him because he's easily still in his prime. And the other team is going to get a year and a half of Giannis at the minimum, if not 2.5, if he comes back on the player option, and then maybe even signs an extension.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's very quick from Giannis, and he has had the best team in these last 3 years, and injuries has been a large part of that. But I can see because he's never really had a concrete second scoring option. Like, of course, Middleton is the one who fits that role the best, but he's been injured a lot, and he's very inconsistent as well. Jrue Holiday had his best year this year playing, and once he got into the playoffs, he just shit the bed. I mean,
couldn't shoot.
Yeah, he couldn't shoot at all.
Yeah, and Jimmy was a tough matchup for him with the size. Miami just matches up weird with a lot of teams, I think.
Yeah.
Especially a team like Milwaukee, because as great as of a defensive player that Giannis is, he's more of a paint guy. He's not really a perimeter. He's not a guy that you can switch it with guards pretty I don't know how you not reluctantly, but the opposite of that. You can put him out there on switches in PNR situations. You don't have to play drop coverage all the time like all these NBA teams are doing with guards that can't shoot. Like you look at what the Warriors did with De'Aaron Fox that entire series. It was all drop coverage. Let De'Aaron Fox shoot mid-range 3-point shots. That whole deal. But you don't want Giannis out on the perimeter all the time. He feasts down low. The paint area is his. So that's kind of where you want him. But when we look at Milwaukee, and not to say that Giannis is requesting a trade. That's not what's happening. It's just the fact that New York is, as they always are, exploring other options. We look at the KD Kyrie situation that was supposed to happen years back. The acquisition of Zion Williamson, which is supposed to happen, the potential Anthony Davis bring in, which never happened. There's always rumors going on with the Knicks up in New York, especially when you have New York media backing you. So just wanted to touch on that really quick and everything that's going on with Milwaukee. I think the Budenholzer firing is interesting. I'm more interested to see who they bring in. You look at Nurse. There was a rumor that they're still looking for a coach in the playoffs that's still coaching like right now. I kind of wonder who that would be, just because they're not going to bring in some assistant. They're going to bring in a certified, proven guy that's a head coach. He's coached in the league for many years. They're not going to bring like Luke Walton in off the Warriors like the Kings did a couple years ago. Like they're not going to do that, right? So they're going to get a more established guy. But like I look at the teams left. Thibodeau with the Knicks isn't going to happen. Spoelstra with the Heat isn't going to happen. I doubt Mazzulla from the Celtics is going to happen just because he's a first-year coach. Doc Rivers is the only one that I could really see even like in the mix. Because you look at Darvin Ham, his first year, no, that's not going to happen, especially with LA being up 3-1 now. Steve Kerr's not going to leave the Warriors. Monty's not leaving Phoenix. And Mike Malone is maybe the only other one, but they just got the 1 seed, and they're in a heated battle right now, 2-2 with Phoenix. So Doc Rivers, I guess, would be 1A in that list of, hey, Milwaukee is still looking for someone from that's still in the playoffs. I would lean Doc Rivers in that scenario if Boston, let's say, blows them out game 5, wins game 6. So that's really the only option I see. But outside of that, it's like Nick Nurse, and then it's like pick and choose. Like, good luck. The coaching market is fairly limited right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
They sign up.
Yeah, okay, so Milwaukee talk is over. We're going to talk about teams still in the playoffs. Eastern Conference first. We're going to go the 2 and the 3 seed, Boston, Philly, tied up 2-2. Game 4 was the best game of the playoffs so far. Just from an entertainment perspective, if you're a Boston fan like myself, a lot of more worrying takeaways from this game, especially in crunch time, which has been the worry from every single media outlet the past 2 months about Boston, literally since like the playoffs has started, and really since actually like the 28-point Nets comeback. It's can Boston close out games? Can Boston close out games? And time again, it's been proven no. But I want to get into other things before we talk about the whole calling timeouts and late game stuff, right? So, 1, James Harden was incredible. He was fantastic. 42 points, 8 boards, 9 assists. It might have been 9 boards, 8 assists, one way around.
After going 5 for 28 in 2 games.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. After going 5 for 28, having 28 total points in back-to-back games combined, he scores 42 and shoots. I think this is the most important stat when we look at James Harden. He shoots 16 for 23.
It's
And
wild.
6 for 9 from 3. And he gets 4 steals and a block. So it's not like he was like slacking on defense. He was taking advantage of every switch down the stretch in the fourth quarter where Embiid looked shaken, to be honest. Embiid was not good in the fourth quarter, to be very frank.
I think he's still a bit injured. I remember hearing, through an article that his injury was pretty serious. He's going to need surgery at the end of the season, I believe.
But yeah, he's wearing that massive brace up his knee that you can see through the leg sleeves and all that. And I believe they switched it to like a more lighter, like carbon fiber material is what they're rocking with now with the brace. And now that he's working back into more game situation, the injury is supposed to be 6 weeks. Like the timeline is 4 to 6 weeks on the injury that he has, and he got 8 days.
Yeah.
After Boston had to go to 6, and they swept Brooklyn, so he got 8 days for an injury that's supposed to be 28. So tough to come back and play on that right out of the gate. And he's still putting up great numbers. I'm just talking about specifically the fourth quarter. Al Horford had 3 blocks, I believe, in the last 5 minutes of regulation, all on Embiid, and they were getting the looks for they literally run like one play. It's the up top Harden and Embiid pick and roll, and their second play is if they get a stop, Maxey leaks out, and he's just so fast. They try to take advantage of his speed and transition, and then if they don't get it, they swing, look for guys. Philly is the best 3-point shooting team in the league. They're over the regular season. They almost shot near 40% as a team for 82 games. So they got guys that can really shoot. But just looking at what Joel did, 1 for 6 for the field in the fourth quarter, gets blocked on multiple occasions by Al Horford, just looked timid with the ball. Like you watch Embiid, it's a lot of jab, like Carmelo Anthony style post work, just at 7'1", 280, which is just insane. But there's a lot of little hesitations to his game before he gets the jumper off. And when they get Embiid on that nail with Horford, because that's what Philly's been liking to do. They like to get Horford in these pick and roll situations. He was a little more passive in the fourth quarter. And then you look at Harden on the other side. He was taking it to the hole, getting to the line, and he made big basket after big basket after big basket. They like Horford on the switch. They like Horford on Embiid, especially in the first 3 quarters, because I think Embiid still had 33 and 13 in this game. It's not like he was bad by any means. But they just like Harden on the switch in the late game ISO situations. And it's working.
Yeah, Embiid's going to get his points. He's going to get his. You just can't let Harden put up a 42 near triple-double.
Yeah, and it's tough. Like, over the last 5 to 8 years, the most efficient, if we looked at like one play that one team runs throughout the course of however many games, right? When he was in Houston, the Harden ISO, strictly just the Harden ISO, one player, one move, was the most efficient play in all of basketball, and it really wasn't close. It wasn't even close. So I'm looking at it. If he's going to keep playing like this, especially at this efficiency, that's the thing that gets me. It's like if he was doing it on 10 for 25, what he was doing in games 2 and 3, 5 for 28.
Yeah.
He can have all the shots in the world. Sure, let him shoot. But if he's going to be doing it on 15 for 20, Devin Booker levels of efficiency, I don't want any piece of that. And I think a big thing to do with Harden's performance yesterday was Jaylen Brown picking up 2 fouls early. If you watch game 3, tip-off happens, and Philly wins the tip, and Jaylen Brown is up in Harden's grill from the start of the game. And it made Harden really uncomfortable throughout the entire course of game 3. Boston got off to a really hot start that game. which is something that they really like to do. They like to get out and get the lead. They were at 14-4, I think, at one point. They hit 4 threes in a layup to start the game. But JB was all up in Harden's grill, making him really uncomfortable, making the pick and roll game tough, making the switches tough. Horford was hedging hard, allowing Brown to get back just to be more of a pest. Then they would switch Smart on him, and Boston has enough guys to rotate through Harden. But when Brown gets 2 fouls early, it's tough.
That's a huge part of Boston really being favored in this series is just the amount of depth they have, especially defensively, to match up with Harden.
Yeah. So I think Jaylen Brown getting 2 fouls early was just really a tide changer because it allowed Harden to be very comfortable. It allowed him to get a rhythm. And once Harden gets a rhythm with that tween, cross, step back, just how he combos those moves together, it just flows really well. And he can pick up a rhythm really quick. So going into Game 5, I'm looking for JB to be all up in Harden again, really pressure him. You just can't have him shooting 16 for 23. If he shoots 10 for 23, Boston wins this game by double digits. And that's really the only difference in these games, I think, is just James Harden.
Yeah.
Boston, if James Harden plays how he normally plays in the playoffs, like if he played how he played in that Brooklyn series, this series would be over already. It'd be 4-0. Simple. So James Harden's been huge.
Tyrese Maxey's also been playing pretty well as a third option.
Yeah. I mean, with Maxey, you're going to get your 20. It's just how are you going to get it in which situations? How efficient is he going to be in getting it? He struggled. Him and Harden struggled in Game 3. They were both 9 for 30 combined. So it's just he's going to get 20. Just how efficient in that 20 is he going to be to allow other guys get touches, like the Niangs of the world and the D'Anthony Meltons of the world. And are also on that roster. So that Boston was very lackluster in the first half offensively. Like really freaking bad. Tatum had 2 points in the first half. He was 1 for 9. We're going to get on Tatum in the second. We're going to touch on Tatum in the second half in a minute.
All right.
But he was horrific in the first half. He couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. JB saved the entire first quarter because Philly jumped out really hot. It was 14-12 Boston to start the game, and Jaylen Brown had 12 of the 14 points. I think the other one was a Marcus Smart transition layup or something like that.
Yeah, he's been great all series. He's been shooting really well all series. He's been that main force of Boston, it almost seems like.
Yeah, when Tatum doesn't have it going, JB's the perfect counterpart, right? So he was great in the first quarter. Then Brogdon took over the second quarter to keep us within a lick of double digits, and then around the 10-point range. And then Maxey shoots a 3 too early with about 40 seconds left in the half. Boston takes full advantage. They go 2 for 1 with their chances now, and they get it to 9, which I thought was huge because then Boston comes out in the third quarter and gets it to 4 really quick. And I was kind of feeling the little Philly choke thing that they like to do in that moment. But then turnover in the fast break, and Harden comes back, hits a huge 3, and Embiid gets a look, and Philly gets on their own run to push it all the way back to 15, 16 points. And it was just a deal breaker at that point. Like we're gonna get into the fourth quarter, of course, but just in the moment of that third quarter, Philly pushing it back up to 14, 15 there when Boston would continually get it back to 5, 7 points, and they just can't get over the hump to tie the game. In the third quarter, I thought was just a little disheartening, just at the time of watching the game, right? And then the fourth quarter happens. The fourth quarter was an absolute. It was just insanity. It was insanity. Embiid looked, like I said earlier, looked uncomfortable. And the Celtics, they had the mics in the huddle. Of course, you heard Missoula. We have another level defensively, is what he was pleading the entire time. And that's what really started that Boston run. and they turn defense into offense so well because Philly's transition D sucks with Embiid on the floor. It's terrible. Like, they're one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, it's bad.
Because Embiid just can't get up and down the floor fast enough to make an impact in the paint. So Boston attacks paint hard, kick out if they don't get the layup, swing to a wide open shooter like Malcolm Brogdon, who was fantastic. He had 19 in the game. And they make transition offense look so easy. And that's the Celtics' bread and butter, is defense turning into offense. And that's what happened. I believe they went on a 17-2 run. That put them up 5 with about 2 minutes left.
It's wild.
5 with 2 minutes left. After being down 16 about halfway in the third quarter, to be up 5 with 2 minutes left tells a lot about the heart of this Boston team, I think. I still think Boston wins this series in 6. Like,
I got
if you're
Philly in
telling
7.
me if you're okay, that's what I thought. But if you're telling me Harden is going to shoot 65% in these next 2 games, you're lying to me. There's no way you actually think that, right?
You know, maybe we're just going to see a vintage moment in the making here for Harden. I doubt it, though. I think if he shoots, in that 48 to 52 range,
okay.
though.
But if you doubt it, how does Philly win the game then? Like, how is Philly going to win these games?
I don't know. I just got Philly in 7.
So I'm being a little passive aggressive there, but just this game pissed me off. Okay, watching it.
No, I know you got a lot to say. That's for sure.
Yeah, last 2 minutes, and we'll get into overtime and the not calling timeout situation, and then we'll be done with this game. Really, just the NBA playoffs episodes would be me just ranting about Boston the whole time.
But I think it was one of the most fun games to watch, though, in the playoffs in general so far.
Yeah,
it's definitely been one of the better games to watch. With that Lakers Warriors series being so boring up until this 4th game, really, person.
Yeah,
only being entertaining.
Yeah, and Miami, New York's kind of. I think Denver, Phoenix has been really entertaining to watch as well.
Yeah.
I do want to break down overtime in the last 2 minutes, really quick. The switch to Horford on Harden. Harden hit a tough floater. Simple as that. But you got to avoid that switch as much as you possibly can. The switch can't be that easy for Harden to be like, hey, we're going to set a pick. And now we have the matchup we instantly want with Horford on Harden. That it's way too simple. It's way too simple. It's way too basic. Great. Horford played great defense in the 4th quarter, and he even played decent defense on the shot. It's just Harden's too skilled of an offensive player to have 37-year-old Al Horford on him. Not going to work. JB's got to be on him.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Harden is shooting 52% against anyone guarding him not named Jaylen Brown right now. And when Jaylen Brown's on him, he's shooting 31%, I believe is the number. So just JB has to be on him. I don't care how many fouls he has. If you get a stop there, you win the game. Plain and simple. 2, the last possession of the 4th quarter. This one, people were like, okay, you should call timeout here. There was plenty of time. The Celtics had time with this possession. They got to walk the ball up the court. I believe they had 18 or 16 seconds when they got the ball.
14 and a half court, I believe, too.
Yeah, 14 and a half court, right. They go to the wing, and they run smart Tatum PNR action, but with a fade instead of a roll. So that way you get Jason Tatum. They got the switch they wanted. They got Maxey on Tatum. Maxey's just too small in that matchup, right?
Yeah.
However, I want an attacker in that Marcus Smart position. So I think when you have those things where it's like, we know we're going to get our matchup. Philly did the same thing. They walked the ball up the floor. They knew they were getting Horford on Harden, right, in that scenario. You know you want Tatum on Maxey. I want better offensive personnel out there. Marcus Smart shouldn't be on the floor with his 28% three-point percentage, because the only way he's ever involved in these plays is if he has the ball. And you look at all the clutch stats for Boston over the last 2 years, Marcus Smart has taken more field goals in clutch time than Tatum and Brown combined.
Wow.
And he's not a good shooter. He's not a good shooter.
No. I can't.
So, and I thought this was the reason you bring in Malcolm Brogdon. You bring in Malcolm Brogdon to have a secondary ball handler in clutch time situations so you can use Tatum as the screener. Brogdon's a great three-point shooter. He was on fire in this game. That's where you call timeout to bring your – if it's, hey, we know we're getting the last shot. We know we're getting our matchups. Let's make sure we have the right offensive personnel to get out there so we can't just play drop coverage off Marcus Smart in a PNR action, right?
I completely agree. I would have called a timeout with that right there. Yeah,
but I didn't hate the timeout as much in the fourth quarter as I did in overtime, because overtime it was a lot of stalling, and we'll get into that. Whereas the fourth quarter is a little more, hey, we're going to get into our action earlier, so maybe there's a chance for an offensive rebound.
Yeah,
which they didn't do in overtime. They drilled it down all the way to 5 seconds till they started that action. So I just don't want Smart on the floor when it's, hey, we know we're going to get the last shot. Malcolm Brogdon has to be on the floor in those situations. And if you don't want Jaylen Brown to be the primary ball handler with Tatum as the screener, Malcolm Brogdon can be the primary ball handler in those situations and still have Tatum as the screener. Hell, Tatum can be the primary ball handler and have Brogdon or Brown set him a screen, or Horford. Anything but Smart in the main action of the play in late game situations is what should be happening, and Marcus Smart is in all the late game situation plays.
More than Tatum and Brown combined is absurd.
It's absurd. So then overtime happens. PJ Tucker was great in overtime. Not good for the entirety of the first 4 quarters, but he was good in overtime. Had a clutch offensive rebound and one put back. Got all up in Joel's ear about the fourth quarter, handling the fourth quarter situation. And I want to get to 18 seconds left. Philly's inbounding the ball. 1, why is Tatum on Embiid? Tatum should not be on Embiid. That Horford was locking him up the entire fourth quarter, and maybe I missed some action. I haven't been able to go back and rewatch the play, and when I have rewatched the play, it's just Embiid holding the ball at the high post with Tatum on him. So I'm sure Philly ran some action off the weak side there to get the switch of Tatum on Embiid. However, this is a simple math problem. You're up 2 with 18 seconds. Harden is in the strong side corner. Embiid is posting Tatum up off the face-up. I wish I had like a diagram in me so I could explain this better. It's hard with audio.
Yeah.
And if I show the video, we get copyright. So,
yep.
But Embiid's in the face-up, and he is bullying Tatum down low. I do not care if Embiid puts the layup in the hole. Because newsflash, it's still a tie ball game, and the worst outcome is double overtime.
So you just decide to go off of the guy who has 39 on you currently, shooting 60% from the field.
Yeah. Yes. 2, if anyone was going to double team in that scenario, it should have been Al Horford, who was guarding PJ Tucker, who was standing, Tobias Harris, who was standing on the opposing block that Joel Embiid was on. Embiid could have turned to the left and reached out and just handed Tobias Harris the ball. That's how close together they were standing. So if anyone is going to double team in that scenario, maybe it should have been the center who was in the key already, guarding the guy next to him, and could have guarded both guys at once. 3. This is my last thing. Never, ever, 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 ever double from the strong side corner that Embiid is posting up on. Especially when James Harden is the guy in the corner.
Oh, man.
It just doesn't make any mathematical sense, which is what the Celtics run their entire offense on. Is Mazzulla crunches stats. Like he literally had a press conference this year where they lost a game. Maybe it was actually one of the Atlanta games in the playoffs. And they lost one of the games, and he said, we got outmathed on offense. We didn't shoot enough threes, and we weren't getting to the line enough. And the next game, Boston shot 40-some-odd threes and got to the line a ton. But how do you get outmathed when you're up 2? Like, we play AAU, Avery. The first thing that when you walk out onto the court in a late game situation when you're up 2,
don't give him the 3.
What is everyone telling each other?
Don't give him the 3. Don't give him the
No
3.
threes.
No 3.
No threes. You press to make sure they don't shoot a 3. Especially when they're already 5 for 8 from downtown and have been working you all night. And then the last play of overtime, I kind of already harped on it in the fourth quarter. I'm done. Like, to start your action with 4.5 seconds, Mazzulla should have called timeout at 10 seconds because you have to have time to get an offensive rebound because it's not a tie ball game. Who cares if you get the last shot? When you're down, you want as many possessions as possible.
Yep.
You don't want to hold for the last shot because newsflash, if you miss, you'll lose. So to work the clock all the way down to 4.5, they still get the matchup they want with Tatum with Tyrese on Tatum. Tatum drives, and Embiid helps with the double. I don't hate the pass at all. It's just the action was started way too late. And of course, Marcus Smart was the one who ended up getting the freaking 3-point attempt at the end.
And buries it.
Who else would it be? Who else would it be?
Buries it a second late. If I'm Tatum in that situation though, I mean he just takes a jump stop there, and he's just bigger. I think he has a shot opportunity there still as well. I'm not mad if he shoots that.
And that's the thing that we were talking about last time we were on, is for Tatum's game to reach the next level, it's getting the Kevin Durant phase of his game into motion. The pull-up mid-ranges off the dribble, especially when you have a guy like Tyrese Maxey on you, that is the shot. Like, you get to the 15-foot mark, you get to that elbow, that needs to be your spot. You look at all the best scorers in the league right now that are freaking cooking. Jokic can shoot from the mid-range. Booker is a pull-up mid-range demon. Durant is a pull-up mid-range he's probably the best ever at the pull-up midi.
Yep, ever.
Tatum has to have that in his game when you got a 6-foot dude on you. Especially with his release point. It's unguardable. It's unguardable when you're 6'8" and you have a handle as tight as Tatum does. The pull-up mid-range is there, but he doesn't have that yet. He shoots really bad when he does shoot the pull-up mid-range. He's one of the worst, and he's actually the worst pull-up jump shooter in the league, which I've said on many occasions now. And just go read the stats on pull-up mid-range and three-point shots. Tatum's at the bottom in all of them in percentages with a minimum amount of like 100, 200 attempts, something like that, which is why Tatum's game is strictly get to the hole, shoot the three, and get to the line. Yeah. So when Tatum drives, it's just make the right read. He made the right read. It's just you got to start your action earlier, and Brogdon's got to be on the floor offensively for Boston in late game situations.
Yeah, it's a tough ending. Tough ending.
Yeah. So I still think it's Boston in 6. Boston is still clearly the better team. I think. I honestly don't think it's even like close. The series should be over. You take away 2 James Harden threes, one in game 1 and the one yesterday in game 4, the series is over. So
yeah, Who knows? Maybe we'll see another 2 James Harden master classes put on display.
Yeah, like that. So that's what it takes for Philly to win. If we're looking further, it's got to be James. Keep getting the matchups with Horford because he is feasting on anyone that isn't Jaylen Brown. And yeah, it's James Harden and Joel, and that's how you win this series if you're Philadelphia. Like, it's simple. Get the ball to your star players, get good looks for them, get them to the line as they do so well together. And it's just the two-man game that's unstoppable in Philly.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting end of the series.
One last thing before I leave this, because I've been going for probably 30 minutes now.
No, air it out. Air out the anger.
Tatum didn't play bad, I didn't think. The first half was bad.
Yeah, first half was bad, but I mean,
First half was bad.
Second.
But if you look at the third quarter, Tatum was the sole reason we were still in the game in the third quarter. I think he went 5 for 5, got to the line, started finding a rhythm. He also grabbed, I think he had 20 boards.
Yeah, I think he had 18 to 20, something like that, boards. Yeah.
Yeah. He had at least 18. He had like 7 assists. The ball wasn't falling early. He found the rhythm later in the game. I thought it was honestly really impressive how persistent Tatum was in this game when you look at how much he struggled early on.
Yeah. I picked up watching it in the second half, and yeah, he really picked it up.
Yeah, and Doris Burke was talking about the entire run of the airtime. He was making all the right reads.
Yeah.
Is what he was doing. He was so much more he looked more well-rounded. Whereas sometimes you just see him go into the ISO, he shoots the step back, gets into his 3-point thing with the step back 3 off the pick and roll action. And he didn't do that. He was, I'm going to get to the rim, and if the rim isn't there, I know I have shooters around me. And everyone knocked down shot. I don't really think Boston played bad, really, especially in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you gotta close it out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely more playmaking ability I've seen from him than any other time I've really watched him play. I mean, if he just picks up a mid-range game and works on that playmaking ability, he's just going to be the next level. I think in that top 10 range, no, top 7, top 5 range.
Oh yeah,
player in the league.
He's a top 10. I think you could say he's a top 10 player now.
I think
he's not. He's top 15. He's top 15
without a doubt. Yeah.
At the minimum.
I'm talking. Yeah, I don't think he's in that top 5 range yet, though.
Yeah, no. You have to have the mid-range game, the pull-up game, in big-time situations. That's how you make tough shots. So once he adds that, they'll be fine. I really hope he adds that in this offseason. Whether we win the finals or not, if we're looking just at Tatum's career, he needs to pull up mid-range. That's how you hit big shots when you have smaller guys on you. You can't just take everyone to the rim, especially when there's some 7'1", 280 guy named Joel Embiid sitting in the paint. So, I'm done.
All right.
So, sorry you had to hear all that, but
hey, it's all right. Air it out, the anger. You guys should be up 4-0.
Yeah, it should be 3-1 at the minimum. So,
yeah.
If we're looking forward for Philly, Harden and Embiid, pick and roll action, Boston, get smart out of the game when you can call timeout and get the correct offensive personnel out there, get the ball, get your matchups correct. I think they'll be fine. Miami, New York, finally moving on. Miami is up 3-1. They won by 8 today. I don't know what the hell is going on with the series.
Neither do I.
I really haven't heard much about it. I've got to watch pieces of the game today, very small pieces. What is New York doing offensively? I don't. Julius Randle is so middling to me. He's incredibly inconsistent. He was fine today. I think he had 20 or 25.
Something like that, yeah.
And grabbed 11 rebounds almost. I can double check my stat lines there. I'll do that right now. But I mean, Brunson was phenomenal. He had 32 and 11, only turned the ball over once. He struggled shooting from the field a smidge, but that's what happens when you're the only guy that can put the ball in the hole for a team that's really struggling right now offensively.
How much did RJ have? Didn't he have somewhere in the 20s too?
He had 20 some too. Yeah,
and they still
not good
lost.
shooting. That's what I'm saying. It's like if you got 3 dudes that are scoring 20 a night, that's great. And then no one else shows up. No IQ really hurts for them offensively. And Emmanuel quickly, that's a real struggle. But it's just like where my question is, where is New York better than Miami in any category?
None.
Shooting, defensively, rebounding, coaching, depth. You're correct. The answer is none, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I had Miami winning this series in 6. It looks like it might be 5. I still think the Knicks put up a fight in the Garden, especially when you have a dog like Jalen Brunson who can close out games for you.
Yeah.
But maybe Miami handles their business early. I really don't have much to say about this series after the 40 minutes I just did on Boston Philly.
Yeah, same. I haven't watched much of the series, but I mean everyone kind of came in with Miami as their favorite into the series already, just because of the inconsistency of the Knicks and the lack of depth. But I think they'll sneak one more game in, take it to 6, and then Miami will end it there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you just look at Spoelstra and Butler; they know how to handle business in the playoffs. They know when their time is right. I don't feel like Game 5 isn't a necessity for them. It's one they definitely like to have. This gives more time for Jimmy to rest up on that ankle and prepare for whoever comes out of that Boston Philly series. I almost feel like Miami is more comfortable with Boston, just because the Harden and I don't know. Like we're literally talking about Miami potentially being in the finals again, out of nowhere.
That's crazy. After being in the play-in.
Yeah, and losing a game in the play-in.
Yeah, it really disappeared. I mean, with how they're tied up with so many contracts, I thought it was just going to get messy these next year or 2 here. I thought they were going to get bounced.
Yeah, and you go listen to major podcasts, major media outlets as, hey, Miami's going to get bounced by Milwaukee, clearly, which didn't happen. But going into the series, that's what of course everyone was saying, including me. And I'm sure including yourself, maybe, Avery. I don't want to throw you in there, but you look at it and everyone was saying, does Miami blow it up? And now it's Miami being aggressive in trade markets, trying to go get maybe a guy like Chris Middleton to come in and help them out offensively. We'll see what Middleton's asking for his payout and stuff like that. And if he accepts his player option, of course. But yeah, and Miami's just Miami. Like they got undrafted dudes that come off the bench, play huge minutes for them. Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. These guys, no one has really ever heard of, and Spo makes them useful assets on a team that desperately needs guards right now.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at Gabe Vincent's name. I thought it was Gary. It was like G. Vincent. Looking at something. Who's this guy? He's on the team.
Bam is stepping up to the plate now. I feel like he was in a little bit of a slump coming out of this regular season.
23-13-4, I think.
Yeah, 23-13-4. Being efficient, but most importantly with Bam, I don't care really what he does on the offensive end as long as it's like 18 and 10. It's what he brings defensively to this Miami team, how he guards the rim and can switch out on the guards as a smaller big. I believe he's 6'9", so he's just a smaller big that can rotate in pick and roll situations, and you don't really have a mismatch for your guards. So unless you have like the guard and like Steph Curry or something like that. So yeah, Miami's just playing really good basketball right now. They're keeping it rolling. They're red hot, and I think they're drooling at the chance to get Boston again. And if it's not Boston, I feel like they match up with Philly just fine too.
Yeah, I think you put Jimmy on Harden, and then Bam, of course, on Joel.
Yep.
I think Maxey could have a big chance of eating in that series if they don't find.
Yeah, I don't know how Kevin Love is going to play into that scenario. He's been very good for them. If you just look at the matchups, because they like to run Tobias at the four, um, a lot in these scenarios, and I don't love that matchup. But Tobias isn't your. It's not Detroit Tobias Harris. It's not LA Tobias Harris anymore. He's not getting you 24 efficiently. So he's getting you 12 on some decent shooting. So
Yeah.
um, his role isn't even the third scorer anymore.
Nope.
Because now that's Tyrese Maxey's role. So yeah, Miami's rolling, playing great ball. They're coached to almost utter perfection. And yeah, just the thought of them in the Eastern Conference Finals again
Yeah.
is beyond absurd.
Miami in 6.
Miami in 6. I agree. Okay, Lakers Warriors game 4 just closed up in this series as we are recording this, which will probably just come out right after. LA's up 3-1. They win game 4 in the Lonnie Walker game. Lonnie Walker scores 15 in the fourth quarter
After playing
seeing
like 3 minutes in the first
in
series
game
per
1.
game.
Yeah, in the first game of the series, he plays 180 seconds. Is barely even out there. And Darvin throws him in for game 2, likes what he sees, and now he's all of a sudden just playing like 30 minutes a night for them. It's one hell of an adjustment, I have to say, to
I've always
have a
liked
guy like
Lonnie.
Lonnie. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was surprised at his minutes, honestly. I didn't really watch much of the regular season, but once playoff time came, I saw him on the roster. I was like, he's on here?
Mm-hmm.
Never really seen him used.
And his confidence is through the roof right now. When we look at it, it's just for him to score 15 in probably the biggest game for LA so far this year. LA had to have this game, I thought. Um, both teams, like game 4 is the most crucial game of any series if it's 2-1 going into that series. Because if the team down forces 2-2, then it's just a straight up best of 3. If
Yeah.
the team up 2-1 wins, 96% of the time the stats say the team up 3-1 is going to win that series. That's how
Yeah.
big game 4 is. It's insane. So just tide altering changes that happened in game 4. I think Darvin Ham. What's up?
Oh, wouldn't it be poetic though? Cycle finishes.
Oh,
Steph Curry gets his 3-1 comeback.
on LeBron. It'd be one hell of a storyline. I'm taking Golden State to the bank in game 5. I think there's a very minimal chance LA wins game 5.
Yeah,
You agree?
I can't see LA bouncing out Golden State in 5.
In 5 games.
No. I can't. Steph Curry's just been playing so well.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I loved Kerr's adjustment. You saw it in game 2. They put Steph on the ball a ton. He wasn't roaming around through screens. It was, hey, Steph's going to be a traditional point guard. We're going to run pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. And he's just going to dissect this defense.
A big part of his
And it
game.
worked to a T in game 2.
A big part of his game that's improved is his ball handling. Because before, he got doubled completely that Kings series, right? And his ability to get out of those double teams and make passes off of it was just huge. It's something you haven't seen from him, really.
And yeah, literally the 2 points he had to score 49 and 50 in game 7 against Sacramento, splits a double team through the press, basically just pushes the ball all the way up past half court. 2 guys collapse on him, splits another double, and goes in for a layup. Steph's got such underrated handle. He might have like top 5 handle all time. I'd have to go through and do the list. But the way his moves, the behind the back, especially the behind the back, but the between the legs to the behind the back moves, the way they just flow naturally into his jump shots, like it's like water. Like it really is, because It's just around the back, and it somehow just comes naturally, just like almost like straight into a shooting pocket, which is why his release is just so fast.
Yeah.
And then when he gets into the lane and goes around the back, it's straight into that 40-foot layup that he likes to do that almost touches the ceiling of every arena he plays in.
He's a very underrated slasher. Very underrated.
I agree. And his ability to get into the lane and facilitate, and not only game 2, but tonight as well. I thought Kerr made a great adjustment in the first half, making AD get outside of the key, get him to the three-point line, and it's not like, hey, we're going to try and avoid AD this whole time, because that allows him to camp out around the paint. It's we're going to attack AD defensively, and it was working until they went away from it, and I think that's what spurred the Lakers' run. Granted, turnovers. There was some really bad turnovers in the late third and fourth quarter for Golden State.
Yeah.
It's been that way all playoff series. Like, they inbound the ball and they turn it over. Like, Dante DiVincenzo had an inbound today that got stolen off a made basket.
The play outside of Steph is really lacking, and Wiggins has been showing up, and Clay has been kind of spotty. He had an all-right game. He only dropped 9 this game, but that depth has really not been there, and Jordan Poole has really been iffy this whole playoffs on his shooting.
He's been so off and on, and the turnovers that he has, it seems like they just directly lead to points for the other team. Like, he just has a natural gift in that sense of when he turns the ball over, the points off turnovers on Jordan Poole. I bet if there's an individual stat, I'll go do some research on it. But like turnovers to points scored by individual players, Jordan Poole might be like 1A on that list.
The facilitator, just in the wrong way.
But yeah, he's just been so up and down this entire time.
He doesn't bring a lot.
It's really hard to say.
Outside of his shooting. Oh, my bad. Outside of his shooting,
he
doesn't bring a lot to doesn't bring a lot. I mean, his defense isn't there. His playmaking ability isn't there very much. So if he's not shooting well, he's just a liability on the court.
Yeah, because he's not sticking any defense on anyone. Like, when Poole is in the game, you see it. The Lakers get switches for LeBron to get Poole on LeBron purposefully, and then LeBron goes into the post and just tries to bully. You saw the Lakers do that a lot in the fourth quarter today. They were running. There was a ton of double drag action, where Curry's guy was the second screener in that action, which forces Curry to rotate onto LeBron, and then they basically told AD and everyone, get the hell out of the way, and we're gonna ISO LeBron on the left wing in the post, which was fairly efficient, I thought.
I was surprised they didn't call AD's number as much in that second half. He played very well in the first, but they didn't really get him into situations for him to score in that second half, especially towards that fourth quarter. In the end there, they looked more towards LeBron and Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, I mean, Walker was on fire.
Yeah.
I guess outside of Walker, like, why do you think AD isn't getting more looks on guys like Draymond in the post? Because like AD's 7'1", Draymond's 6'7".
That's when my whole gripe this whole series. I mean, Kevon Looney's too slow. Draymond isn't big enough. AD should be getting screens. He should be running to the rim. He should be getting way more shot opportunities in that second half of that game there, because he can dominate. Yeah. I mean, his consistency is the question, but you got to put him in positions where he's rolling to the basket, not just spotting up on the low block every time.
Yeah, there's a specific play I remember halfway through the third where I don't know if you're watching the game at this point. But halfway through the third, AD gets a rebound, a defensive board. They kick out the outlet. He outlets to LeBron. I believe he kicks it all the way up to D'Angelo, all the way up the court. And D'Angelo just kind of waits, and AD's the trailer after the rebound, and he's just downhill. It's hard to stop that dude coming downhill.
Yeah.
And he just goes straight to the rim, one dribble, attacks Draymond, and one. And I feel like, because AD's pulling down like 15 boards a night right now. His activity defensively, especially in Game 3. He was phenomenal defensively in Game 3. There's a reason why all his teammates are saying he's the best defensive player in the world. He's playing like the best defensive player in the world right now. He's been whatever he's giving you offensively, that's been inconsistent. What he's bringing night to night on a defensive basis is what is fueling the Lakers right now.
He's a top 5 player if he just gets consistent. And I mean, if he has that Giannis type of mentality where every game I'm going to give it 102%.
Yeah, I think some of it's too, like, LeBron's going to get his shot attempts. D'Lo's got to get his shot attempts. Reeves has to get his shot attempts. But if I'm AD in this series and I got Draymond on me, who's 6 inches shorter, I outweigh him by a significant amount. I should be posted up on that block. If I'm not getting the looks that like Jokic gets in the PNR situations where it's like I fade, I stop at the free throw line, and his mid-range game is too inconsistent for that lately. All his looks are off. Tippins, offensive rebounds, and him at the hole.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you look at Pelicans AD, he was dominant from mid-range. He was a great shooter. He could stretch the floor.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how much his shot has fallen off since the bubble. Because he's not even a 30% free-point shooter anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
I think he shot 28% from 3 this year.
Yeah, I remember him being a way better 3-point shooter and mid-range as well.
Yeah. So if he can get if he's either better there or it's just like get me the ball on the block and everyone get out of my way kind of deal.
It just seems
30 and 15 should be a nightly thing.
Yeah. It just seems that prime AD is Pelicans AD. I mean, how old is he right now?
I think he's 30.
30? Yeah.
30.
He's been on Lakers, 3-4 years now?
4. 19.
19?
19.
Yeah. You feel like this last 4 years of
20,
AD.
1920.
20?
The bubble
okay, yeah,
was
3 years. 3 years. Yeah. You just think when you think prime AD that it would have been these last 3 years, but I mean, it's more so that Pelicans AD.
Mhm. But yeah. Do you see any way for the Warriors? Let's say they win Game 5, which I think we're both agreeing on that they do.
Yeah.
What else does Steve Kerr have left in the bag of adjustments here to not only minimize AD? Like I don't even really know what the question is because I feel like they're getting a lot of open looks. It's just these guys aren't knocking them down. And the part where I thought Golden State might break it open is they got up 6 or 9. I can't remember. I think they were up 6. And they run an offside ball screen, and Klay comes up to the wing, and Klay buries a 3. But then there was a foul by D'Angelo Russell who just like plowed into, I think it was DiVincenzo setting the pick. He plowed into Dante. And they call a foul before the 3 even happens. Golden State then misses a shot. LA comes down 3, scores on the next possession, and all of a sudden it's a tie ball game instead of Golden State being up 9, right? Even though Klay made the shot, and I felt that was the area where Golden State was going to push this game to 13 and 15 points, and it just seems like those runs, they aren't as immediate as they were a couple of years ago or even last year.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge shot right there that got missed. And I can't see them taking this to 7. Just if it keeps up with Jordan Poole and the rest of the bench is shooting. I mean, it's just been a one-man show for Steph Curry for a lot of these playoffs here, with a lot of bad play from Jordan Poole, and even Klay not shooting he's not shooting amazing. 3 for 9 from 3 this game. He only gives you 9. Yeah, I just think Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not to see the Lakers winning this series right now.
Also, when you get like 20 more free throws, that helps too.
Here's the thing with the free throws, though. I think, like Golden State, I think they shot 43s in game 1, near 50. I think it was like 47 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a big
43,
part.
somewhere in there. They shoot a ton of threes.
Yeah. I mean, and they kind of got to do it to win this series. The way they're going to beat AD, because, I mean, you don't have an answer for AD, really.
No.
You don't have an answer. The way you beat the Lakers is you just got to outshoot them from 3.
Mm-hmm.
You got to beat them in the race to points.
Yeah, it's Golden State just needs. I feel like they thrive off momentum and getting big runs in games. It's like, hey, we're down 7, we're playing a little sloppy, and then bang, they hang 14 points right on you. It's like, oh, we're down 7 all of a sudden. After Steph hits 2 threes, Clay hits 2 threes, and we get a slip.
It's really crazy to see.
It's insane.
The runs they go on, yeah.
You saw it all through the Boston series in the finals last year, and partly in the Kings series. But with the free throws, Golden State's offense, that controlled chaos offense, is made to get open looks. It's made to get wide open slips through the hole. Free throws are not a part of Golden State's repertoire on offense. I don't really think they really ever have been. Like, you look at Curry, he's not shooting 10 to 12 free throws a game like Embiid, like Harden, like Tatum, LeBron. When he was on Cleveland, he was getting that. That's not what Golden State's offense is. It's creating wide open looks.
Yeah.
That's what their offense is. It's not getting to the line. So with the free throw thing, LA lives in the paint. They're gonna get more free throws. Like it's a pretty simple equation. Like if you get to the hole, you're gonna get more foul shots.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's anything with the refs or anything like that to blame.
No.
Although my brother's probably doing that. Warriors fan he is.
But yeah, I just don't see what other adjustments Kerr makes. Like it's hard to prepare for Lonnie Walker scoring 15 in the 4th.
Yeah. It really comes out of nowhere.
So just a ballsy performance by him. He's playing with incredible confidence right now. Lakers are thriving off of it. They take game 4, which was just so massive. So yeah, LA's up 3-1. I agree with you, Avery. They'll probably win in 6.
Yeah.
Last series. Let's get into it, and then we got a little special topic for you guys at the end. Denver Phoenix. Series doesn't start until a home team loses a game. That hasn't happened yet. So we got a best of 3. We're tied up 2-2. And Booker and KD are playing out of this world right now.
They're carrying 72 points combined. I don't think anyone else had double digits in that game 4 there.
Shamet hit 4
threes. Oh, yeah,
Shamet had 19.
Shamet had 19, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than Shamet as well. I think no one else licked double digits.
Yeah, I think you're correct, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of the more interesting series here. Just Boston, Philly, and Denver, Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for Denver to come out of this series on top, MPJ's got to play a hell of a lot better than he played in game 4.
Michael never passed the rock. Porter Jr. I mean, that final shot there, you can't take that transition. It's just bad shot takes. It seems like he always just waits for someone to put a hand in his face for him to shoot a 3. He'll catch it wide open. But he just wants the challenge of having someone in his face always.
You got the J.R. Smith syndrome.
Yeah.
He's got to play a lot better. Aaron Gordon really struggled in game 3, was in a ton of foul trouble, never found a rhythm. KD was a lot more efficient in game 4. than he has been in earlier games where he's taken like 30 shot attempts. It's like, oh, KD scores 39, and then you go look at the numbers. It's like 12 for 34. I'm granted they won game 3, but
yeah, I still think he's getting his footing with the team. I mean, Booker has the ball a lot. He doesn't really know what to do outside of that. I think he's still getting integrated onto that Suns team and playing with Booker. With how well Booker's been playing as well.
I think it's getting better though.
Yeah.
Because now with Chris Paul out, it's simple. I feel like it's almost helping. Like it's simplifying the game for Phoenix because now Booker's running the one. Like Booker had 12 assists last night on top of his 40 ball.
Yeah.
So
a big part of that too is the amount, like how we said, Booker and KD's mid-range game, two of the best in the league, and KD probably the best ever. And you add Chris Paul in there. Chris Paul is also a big mid-range shooter. A lot of their shot attempts were coming from that mid-range between the three of them. There wasn't as many threes going up or drives to the paint, which I think was a big part of them losing those first 2 games.
Yeah,
just got outshot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like Phoenix struggled from the field, especially in game 2. They were horrific in game 2. KD was like 2 for 12 from 3, I'm pretty sure, when we broke down that on Instagram for the reels. Go check us out over there. Links in the description for that. But yeah, just KD's been just phenomenal at home. He's been great. He was incredible in game 4. He had so many big shots for them. And I think you bring up with a great point with the Chris Paul stuff to where it's now instead of Chris Paul shooting like 1 for 6 from 3, he's not a great 3-point shooter anymore. It's not like we're getting prime Chris Paul back.
No.
I feel like Phoenix is playing faster. They're getting more great looks for Booker and Durant in transition, which is why Booker's field goal percentage is like almost 100. It's insane. He shot 79% at home.
It's wild.
In the last 2 games.
He's playing so well.
He's been out of this world. Like, just ridiculous. He can't miss.
Do you think
he can't miss right now?
Do you think he can keep up shooting 60%, 40% from 3? In that
60
high range?
is insane.
Because, I mean, that's still a close game they played there in that game 4 with Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Putting up 40
and 12. And they got 40 points from their bench finally, where in game 3 that they won, no one else outside of Durant and Booker, I believe they combined for 86 points in game 3, or sorry, not one, game 3, excuse me. No one else was over double digits, like period, like no one.
Yeah.
So they're literally the offense right now. And does that get 4 games against Jokic with the way he's playing? Jokic might have had the most underrated 50-point game I've ever watched in my entire life.
No one's talking about the 53 ball. Yeah.
He had 53 and 11. And we're just like, oh, Jokic, like that.
Stat patter. Just trying to. Oh man.
He was beyond ridiculous. He's my favorite player to watch right now, to be honest. Like as awesome as Booker and KD, like this series is my favorite series to watch right now. Boston I have to watch as a fan, but it's been so painful. This series is the most fun series to watch right now. Just with the offensive talent all on the floor at the same time.
Yeah.
And even when Jokic doesn't get 50 and 11, the game before in game 3, which they also lost and had a chance to win, he had 30, 17, and 17 on good efficiency.
He's just absurd.
He's insane. He's insane. Unguardable. He's unguardable.
It's like you said in our earlier video with having the 3 MVPs and like people putting them up in that talk. It's just the playoff achievements that he really needs to bring before people talk about him being a top center.
Mm-hmm. And
2 MVPs.
I mean, no offense to anyone else, but I do like to give myself a little pat on the back every once in a while. I think I made the right call, the Jokic MVP thing. I know it's a regular season award, but it's looking pretty good right now. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I mean,
They just
Denver.
gotta. They should be the favorite right now. Denver should be the favorite right
I
now.
agree.
I think.
I agree. He was all by himself last year, and they were a
Mhm.
6th seed. I mean, people forget that Denver team last year was just void of their next, second, and third option, and they
Yeah.
still made it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And Jamal Murray looks healthy again.
Yeah, he looks
He
good.
looks phenomenal. He's been playing great basketball. I I picked Phoenix in 7. I'm still rocking Phoenix in 7 just because I can't deny what Booker and KD are doing on the floor together right now. Just the numbers are Shaq and Kobe levels of just stupidity. Um, and I can't turn it down. If they're gonna score 80 every night, how am I gonna say no to that?
It's just tough to see him scoring 80 every night. I mean, I don't know, especially with the efficiency. It depends on the efficiency a lot for them to
Hmm.
win those games, if they're going to be scoring 80.
And I see what you're saying with like the new guy stuff, where it's like Durant's still working himself into the system, but now with Booker running the one, Durant has made Booker's point guard life so much easier because now Booker has a guy where it's like, I know who I'm giving the ball to,
Yeah,
and he can just go get one. And Booker had some great passes last night too to Ayton on the slip and roll, and just how they play off each other, the way they space the floor, and it's not even really like, hey, you get this possession, you get this possession. It's just it naturally is coming to them so easy. They make the game look so easy. It, it
yeah.
it's awesome to watch. I'm so excited to watch 5, 6, and 7. This for me is right up there with the Sacramento Golden State series.
I agree.
As far as NBA entertainment so far.
Yeah, I want to see this go to 7, and in that 7, I got Denver.
You still got Denver?
Yeah, I still got Denver.
Okay. Um, which I don't blame you. If Jokic is gonna put up 53 and 11, you
You
can
just
take
need
Denver all you want.
MPJ to be more efficient, play better, and I mean he's already averaging a whopping 1.8 assists. Some record numbers for him there. You just got to get the shooting together.
But yeah, it's a great series with 3 of the hottest offensive players in the league right now, if not 4, if you put Jamal Murray in that category, which I think he deserves to be in that
Yeah,
conversation.
28 last game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a great battle. I think it does go 7.
Bubble Murray is some of the best basketball I've ever watched.
Yeah, and you could argue, I think, like the games that he's playing right now just look. I know he's coming off injury and all that. He looks more refined, I feel like, and polished.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah, I agree. That mid-range game is looking really nice.
Yeah. Hate him. Just get a midi, please, please.
Man.
Okay. Special topic. Me and Avery, we're gonna go alternate picks. I will donate Avery the 1 pick. We're not competing against each other, but we are going to draft, alternatively, the top 10 players in the playoffs this year. Just this year's playoffs, not past years, not what happened in the regular season. This year, playoffs, top 10 players. Avery, you got the 1 pick. I got the 2. Avery will have the 3, so on and so forth until we get to 10.
At number 1, I'm going to have to go with Jimmy Butler.
You going Jimmy?
Yeah, he's just been playing phenomenal on both sides of the floor. I mean, he's really been carrying this Miami team, that 56-point performance. I just know he's going to give me a bucket in that late game.
And the 40 in game 5.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been
40, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 40 something, late high 30s in that overtime game 5 win against Milwaukee. Yeah, it's hard to argue against Jimmy at 1 right now as well. I mean, stat wise, you could say. other guys, especially out in the West.
Yeah.
And the games that Miami likes to play, where it's 98 to 95, Jimmy gets all the tough buckets. So
Yep.
hard not to pick Jimmy after what he did in the first round too. You can pick players that have been eliminated.
Oh, okay.
So if you would like to take De'Aaron Fox, he is available. Guys like that.
Okay.
I got the two. I'm looking. I don't have a list in front of me, but I'm just looking at the teams still left. I'm gonna go Devin Booker.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been playing phenomenal. I agree.
This playoffs, he's averaging 37, 5, and 7 on 60, 49, 88% splits. That's 60% from the field, 49% from three, 88% from the line.
It reminds me of
those are Mike Jordan. Like no one compares to it. Those are Mike Jordan numbers. Like
yeah, I think Devin Booker's really stepped it up these past 2 years and become a top. I mean, would you consider him a top 5 player? Top 10 without a doubt.
Really?
I think Devin Booker should be considered a top 10 player.
Well, let's do it then. Let's do it. Jokic, Embiid, Giannis.
Yeah. Steph.
Yep. You taking Luka or Booker?
I mean, I want to say Luka, but not in the playoffs, which makes it tough. But Luka. I mean, he's 30. What? He had 39, 10, something like that. So I say Luka. Yeah.
Yeah, he averaged 34, 8, and 8 this year.
34, yeah.
33, 8, and 8.
33, yeah.
That's 5, right?
Yeah.
AD.
You put AD at 6?
I'm just asking. I'm just throwing out.
I'd put.
I don't have a definitive list.
Yeah, either do I. I don't have a list, so it's kind of hard to think. I mean, I'd be fine putting AD in that 6th spot, I guess. Would you?
KD.
Here, let me pull up some. KD. Oh yeah, I'd put KD 6. KD 6.
Butler.
Well, are we counting playoffs too, or mostly just regular season?
It's just top 10 players.
Top 10. Okay, yeah. Then yeah, I'd put Butler. And I think I'd go Booker next. Yeah.
And then Booker at 8.
Yeah.
No Dame Lillard.
1 second. I'd put Booker over Lillard.
You put Booker over Lillard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that
Lillard had what, 32 points per game, something like that.
Yeah.
This year, yeah, he played really well. I don't. If I'm choosing someone, I'm picking Booker.
You're taking Booker.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum.
At 9.
Are you taking Tatum over Booker?
Taking Tatum? No. I mean, he had. No. I mean, counting his regular season, I mean, he had one of the greatest forward seasons ever. So it's tough not to take him. But I guess, I mean, it could be biased with just the way Booker's been playing lately as well. But I think I'd put, I mean, at least in that top 15 spot. I think you can sneak him into that 10 there. I'd probably take. I think I'd still take Booker over Tatum, actually.
Yeah.
It's just tough to say that with Tatum coming off of this amazing year.
Yeah, and Tatum having a very special year as far as like the small forward position goes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to leave my slight bias out of it. Tatum is honestly just too inconsistent offensively with the turnovers and the missed shots. I don't think Booker really has ever really had a half where it's like, oh, he was 1 for 9 this half and had 2 points.
Yeah, I think the consistency's just been there this year for him.
Yeah, and I if Booker plays more than like 45 games, he's a first-team All-Pro again at the 2 guard. Like, there's no one else that does what Booker does at the 2 guard right now. He's the best 2 guard in the league. Because now Harden's not really a 2 guard anymore. He's more of a 1. He's a point guard. He's an assist guy. He led the league in assists this year. So, yeah, Booker. So back to the playoffs.
Booker at 2.
Butler, Booker, me. You're up.
Jokic. Underrated.
Jokic, yeah.
He's been playing very underrated. 53 and 11 in this last game. I got Jokic at that 3 spot.
Yeah. I can't argue that at all.
Yeah.
You could argue him to be at 1. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
been absurd, and the games they lose, it seems like his biggest games, they lose those games for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, the massive game he had against Minnesota that went to overtime, he had, like, 42, 18, and 17, and they lost. So,
Stat patter. It's
yeah,
wild.
he's been insane. Okay, so that's 3, 4. I'm lobbying between 3 guys. I'm gonna go Steph.
Yeah.
Steph Curry at 4.
He's been playing out of his mind.
I love what he's been doing on the ball in the Lakers series. 50 in Game 7 against Sacramento was just unbelievable to watch. On a career high, 38 shot attempts. He was phenomenal. And how Kerr's been able to use him as more of a traditional point guard, and he's made it look so seamless. I got to go Steph at 4.
Yeah, it's just evident to see how much worse of a team the Warriors are when he's off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So I got number 5 now. I'm gonna go with Embiid. Embiid, I mean, he did just get injured, but he's. You disagree? You disagree?
A little.
I don't know. Embiid,
phenomenal in the Brooklyn series. He was great. I don't know if he's been a top 5 player in the playoffs this year with how some of these dudes are playing. I take AD.
You take AD?
I mean,
AD hasn't been exactly consistent either, though.
But I know what I'm getting defensively with AD every night.
That's true. That's true.
But hey, we're not judging here.
Hey, yeah. Hey, that's just
Avery's pick. Embiid at 5. This is a collaborative list. So, so now I'm between my 2 guys. I just threw out AD. It doesn't really matter between these 2, but I'm gonna go KD. I'm gonna go KD at 6.
KD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Struggled earlier in the Denver series, but is turning it on. He was great in the Clippers series. Just the efficiency, him and Booker, undeniable.
All right. For number 7, I'm gonna go Kawhi in those first few games.
In the 2 games,
he looked like the best player in the world.
I was gonna take him at 10. I
totally forgot.
He was insane.
If he would, if he doesn't get hurt, I think that series.
You think they win that series?
I think it goes to 6 or 7 at least.
Oh, easy. Like, Russ had him in those games.
Yeah.
All the way until like the last 5 minutes of the 4th quarter, when Phoenix would just go on like a little 8-0 run and the game was over.
Yeah.
You have Kawhi there. You're getting more stops and you're scoring more baskets. Simple formula.
Exactly.
So I like that.
Yep.
Now I'll go AD.
Now you go AD. Okay.
Like you said, inconsistent offensively, but he's hands down right now the best defensive player in the playoffs right now.
Next spot,
Got one left.
Yeah, I got one left.
This is the last one.
I had to pull up the list. I haven't seen a whole lot of college basketball. I haven't seen a whole lot of playoff basketball. I'm gonna have to go Mitchell, Donovan. I think he was really carrying that Cleveland team.
So you took 3 dudes that aren't even in the playoffs anymore?
Yeah. You said no playoffs as well. Let me look.
Well, no, I said they could be eliminated. They had to play in the playoffs, of course.
Oh, yeah, but they can be eliminated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they can be eliminated, yeah. Interesting.
Or Ja. Or Ja. I felt like Ja.
Or Ja?
Yeah.
Ja played well.
Yeah, I think Ja played pretty well. I'm going to switch out and go Ja.
You go Ja?
Yeah.
Okay. 10 is really tough.
It is.
Because James Harden hasn't been picked yet. He's single-handedly won 2 basketball games in the toughest series of the year. Jaylen Brown has been phenomenal. I think. I would take Brown over Tatum. As far as this list goes, not saying over the course of their careers or anything. I'm just saying as far as this goes so
Playoff
far
performance so far, yeah, I agree.
10 games of playoff basketball that Boston has played, I would take Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Jamal Murray's on this list as well that I'm considering. Give me Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two-way player. I like the impact he's making defensively. He doesn't get those 2 fouls in game 4. I think Boston wins that game. Boston almost came back and stole that game. So with how they played in the first half, Brown dragging 2 early fouls, and for Boston to almost come all the way back, Jaylen Brown's been phenomenal so far in the playoffs. But I wouldn't blame if you took Jamal. I wouldn't blame you if you took James Harden just from the absurd performances he's had in the Boston series. Look off those 2 games alone, he almost deserves to be in the top 10.
Yeah, it's just the inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't play very well in that first round series, and
you can't have 5 for 28 in game 2 and 3.
Yeah, no.
So there's your little list. Top 10 players this year. So it's Butler, Booker, Jokic. Then who did I take? Jokic.
Curry.
Steph. Jokic, Steph. And
Embiid.
You took Embiid. I took KD. You took
Booker. No, excuse me.
No, I took what?
Yeah, you said Booker. Who did I take?
You take Donovan there?
No, I took Kawhi.
Kawhi. You took Kawhi.
Yeah.
Took Kawhi at 7. I took AD at 8. You took Ja at 9.
Yeah, Ja 9. Yeah.
I just took Jaylen Brown. So there you go. There's our little ranking. You could honestly go to like 30 with this year's playoffs. Like Kevon Looney could probably be a top 30 playoff player this year. Is how he rebounded in the Sacramento series.
Yeah.
So, but that's good to it.
Knows his role.
Thank you, Avery, for coming on again. It was a pleasure having you back.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
For everything Hurdle Podcast, Instagram at HRDL Podcast. That's down below. Also in the description, check us out. I'm doing game by game stuff over there when we're not doing the mid series and end of series stuff. So like the game 2s, the game 3s, the game 6s. If you want to know the game by game stuff, I'm doing that there. I like to hold my opinions till I see some definitive basketball being played though. So that's what this pod was for. But the reels are on the Instagram. If you want just the audio version, don't like watching me and Avery on camera or whatever, just want to listen to it, go over to Spotify. Spotify has everything you need over there. We upload the audio podcast right after the video ones. So turn on the notification bell there on Spotify. Type in Hurdle Sports to the search bar. My name is on it. Avery's name's in the bio. It's all there. Everything you need. Every episode from day one. So if you really want to catch up on sports from 2021, be my guest. But I think that's it. Subscribe, like, all that good jazz. Let us know who you think is going to make the finals down in the comments. Be interested to see your guys' finals predictions, especially with how these series are going through 4 games. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Bailey, Avery, NBA playoffs basketball. Peace.
See ya.